Should the Steelers draft another running back in the first round? Big Deke news. I thought today would be a great day to not talk Steelers quarterback. I think we needed just at least a one-day break. So instead, we're going to focus on the draft. And thanks to Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network Insider, we have a mock draft to react to. It is mock draft 2.0, and obviously with mock drafts, he has each team in the first round making their selection. And for the Steelers, he's got us at pick 21, taking a running back. Ashton Jeanty, presumably the best running back in the class. Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State, the Heisman runner-up. His explanation for the pick is that the Steelers spent the past two drafts beefing up their offensive line. Now they had a top five player. Now they land a top five player in the class to run behind it. Couple things with his explanation. One, we did spend the past two drafts attempting to beef up our offensive line. I don't think the execution has been completely there all the way just yet, with Broderick Jones not exactly living up, and the Steelers also playing him out of position doesn't help with that either. But also with Troy Fautanu, his rookie year, only playing in one game, like we still don't even really know what we got in our first round picks from the last couple of years in terms of the two offensive tackles that we've taken. So I wouldn't say like our offensive line is solidified and all we need is a running back to run behind it and all will be good. But then the other thing is he said Ashton Jeanty is a top five player in this class. I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. I think I even looked into, like I clicked on this link here where it says you could, click on the top five players. There's a hyperlink there. And I think he actually has Jeanty as 3. It's not even just top 5. He has him as number 3 in this whole class, which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, let's get into the pick. Well, we still got to see what we do in free agency. But that's the tough thing to deal with at this point in the offseason. Whenever you're making these mock drafts, you're making predictions, you don't know what the team you're projecting the pick for is going to do in free agency. So, we don't know if we're bringing back Naji Harris or not. A lot of signs are pointing to that happening, but if we bring back Naji Harris, drafting a running back in the first round would be very stupid. I think it's kind of stupid to take a running back in the first round, just in general, but if we have Naji Harris back, that it would make it even more stupid. But I guess he's assuming that we don't bring back Naji Harris with this pick, so let's just go off that assumption here when we're grading and reacting to this. Should the Steelers take Ashton Jeanty in the first round? Or maybe more general, should the Steelers take a running back in the first round? No. My answer is no. We can't do it again. We did it with Naji Harris in 2021. And where did it get us? 9-8 and 10-7 every year. And the offense pretty much looking the same every year. And going back to that Naji Harris draft, there were some other things we probably needed to take care of that would have been wiser to spend our first-round pick on. I remember talking about it. I think I projected us to pick Naji Harris, and I thought Naji was the best running back in the class. And, it's the more exciting pick for sure. We moved off of James Conner, but we all know the value of the running back position as it relates to every other position on the offense, let alone the whole team. It should be the last thing you're focused on. Last thing. Because a running back, no matter how good, if you don't have the surroundings there, the impact is going to be minimal. We could talk about other first-round running backs that have been taken over the last 14, 15 years. And guys that are better than Ashton Jeanty coming out of college. Guys that I would view as game changers. I would view as special. These guys are can't miss. Whereas Ashton Jeanty, I don't know, bro. Are we sure he's even the best running back in this class? There's probably an argument for it, but I don't think he's head and shoulders above the top, 5, 6, or 7 guys. You got Omarion Hampton from UNC. You got Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. The Ohio State running backs. Caleb Johnson from Iowa. There's a case for any of those guys over Ashton Jeanty, in my opinion. I think Jeanty took advantage of a weak conference and a heavy workload. Omarion Hampton, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson, the Iowa State running backs, they're playing in better conferences, going up against better competition. They were still putting up some big numbers. So you just wonder, what if they were getting Ashton Genty's workload in whatever the hell conference Boise State's in? But again, look at big-time running backs coming out. Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, even like a Todd Gurley coming out of Georgia. Like, I think he was considered more talented, more of a home run as a pro running back coming out of Georgia than an Ashton Genty. And, like, if it wasn't for Sean McVay and the Rams getting all those pieces around him, it wasn't looking too hot for him his rookie year. It was after they fired Jeff Fisher and got a whole new regime in there and a whole new offensive structure, new players, all that, when Todd Gurley really started to take off and become prime Todd Gurley. Like Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, these guys viewed way better than Ashton Genty coming out. Surefire running backs, like all world. And it's like their impact wasn't really all the way there for those respective teams they were drafted to because of what those teams had around the running backs. The Jaguars with Leonard Fournette, did he even crack over 1,000 yards in any of his seasons with the Jaguars? I don't know if he did. It may have hit over like 1,000 or 1,100, but that's a number 4 overall pick. That's supposed to be your number 4 overall pick right there. Barely eclipsing 1,000 yards or not even eclipsing 1,000 yards. Christian McCaffrey, it had to take him getting out of Carolina to actually have major impact. Go to the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan, with structure, with good offensive schemes, with a good O-line, weapons, all that around him. Saquon Barkley had to go to the Eagles. They had everything in place, though, with the Giants. Not much of a factor. Like, that's the other thing. Let's not disregard or throw away Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, like their talent and what we still saw them do with lesser teams and lesser offenses. Like, you got to give them credit for that. But our perspective, or my perspective, is like the Steelers and the organization and how we need to build this team to win a championship. It's not saying like drafting a running back's automatically going to be a failure and these running backs in the first round are bust. No, it's like, what actual impact do they have on the team winning a championship? The only running back I'm looking at, actually two. The only running backs that were taken in the first round where I see it worked out immediately and like the impact was there. You got the most out of that running back you took in the first round over the last like 14, 15 years is Zeke Elliott with the Cowboys and Jahmyr Gibbs with the Lions because they had everything else already in place. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to focus on. And I think the Steelers right now have some other needs. While we're sitting here right now, maybe it's a different story if literally we take care of receiver in free agency, we take care of corner, we take care of D-line, maybe grab an extra lineman. We don't bring back Najee Harris. If all that happens, maybe you could talk about taking a running back in the first round. But I still wouldn't even mind doubling up on one of those positions I just mentioned, whether it's receiver, cornerback, D-line in the first round, and then maybe snagging a running back in the second or third, just because how deep this class is. If you're talking about Genty being the number one running back, but I could get one of the Ohio State running backs in the second round or maybe third round, Devin Neal or Caleb Johnson in the third round, I'd rather just do that. I'd rather just take another receiver. I would rather take a corner, take a defensive lineman in the first round, maybe the first two rounds, and then snag a running back in the third, because no matter what running back we bring in, whether it's bringing back Najee Harris, they're going to be splitting carries with Jaylen Warren. It's not like they're going to be the certified bell cow. Let's not forget we got a Jaylen Warren here. So I think it's just the running back position, man. It's nothing against Ashton Genty. I just don't view him. One, I don't view him as like a special game changer, generational, like some of the running backs I mentioned who were taken in the first round in the past. Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Zeke Elliott. So, like, I don't even think Genty's on that level. But then you just add a couple more factors. Another one is the deep running back class, maybe potentially the best running back class of who knows how long. I mean, this is a top running back class. There's a lot of depth here. There's a lot of guys that you could take that are quality that could play significant snaps for you next year, whether it is taking one in the first round or second or third. So I don't think you have to be pressed. I don't think you have to jump the gun to take a running back in the first round. And then lastly, just don't take a running back in the first round. Get all the other pieces in place for your offense. Get the quarterback, get the scheme right, get the philosophy right, get the O-line right, get the weapons right, and then start thinking about running back. We've seen it so many times, man. We've seen it so many times, and it's not a knock on running backs, but we're talking about building a team here. If we were the GM, if this is how Omar Khan and the front office should be building this team up, this is just how you should do it when you're talking about winning championships. We've seen it time and time again. Le'Veon Bell is a great example. We saw that firsthand here. Great running back. Greatest running back in the league for a 3-4 year period stretch. Goes to the Jets. Irrelevant. Saquon Barkley. Pretty much irrelevant with the Giants. Good. You could see the talent, right? But in terms of winning games and impacting things like that, they had that one little run where they made the playoffs. That was about it. That was their ceiling, though. That was literally the best they could do with how they had things situated. Goes to the Eagles. Yeah, it works. It works there. But look at all the other running backs it's worked with the Eagles. Miles Sanders, great year. Career year with the Eagles. They're like, yeah, we can move off him. He's wanting too much money in free agency. All right, let's get DeAndre Swift, failed first-round running back, over with the Lions. Let's bring him in here. Awesome. Gets another contract with the Bears. Saquon Barkley. Yeah, he's better than those other two. Let's see what it would look like in our offense. But again, don't forget what the Eagles did in this whole timeline that I'm talking about. They went to the Super Bowl with Miles Sanders. Let's not forget that. Miles Sanders wasn't the reason they didn't win the Super Bowl the first time. So they could have won with a Miles Sanders, right? Now, they won with the Saquon Barkley, but Saquon Barkley really didn't do anything in the Super Bowl. It was all about Jalen Hurts balling out and the Eagles' defense going crazy. They could have won with whatever running back was back there in that Super Bowl. Now, did Saquon help them get there? Of course. But Eagles have a good team already in place, great team already in place, quarterback in place. And, again, they got quality coordinators. They got quality coaching staff. So they got a lot there, man, for why Saquon Barkley is able to hit his full potential. You see what Derrick Henry goes from the Titans. Looks like his career's, slowly winding down. A lot of people are thinking, at least, he's not King Henry anymore. Goes to the Ravens. If it wasn't for Saquon Barkley, had, pretty much a historic year, first year in Baltimore. I just think the Steelers have more pressing needs, and you can make it work with, if you have everything else set, you can make it work with a lot of running backs. Greatest example, again, we're witnessing it firsthand with Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, undrafted. Najee Harris, first-round pick. I mean, the contrast of where they were drafted is insane versus what their production is and impact is. I mean, you could argue Jaylen Warren over Najee Harris being the better running back. You can argue that. I'll give it to Najee because of the consistency and stuff. But if you're just talking impact, you're talking about providing a spark, providing explosive plays, just a different dynamic to this offense. Jaylen Warren, he was undrafted. So I'm not stressing about taking a running back in the first round. Definitely not. We got to witness it. From my standpoint, not really work out to the degree we wanted to with Najee Harris. And now, granted, is Genty better than Najee Harris? Or some of these running backs coming out right now better than Najee Harris? Maybe more dynamic. But it's just such a deep class that I think you can get some of these dudes in the second or third round. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Let me know your thoughts. It's just the unfortunate truth about the running back position, I feel like. It's unfortunate. I don't even know if Ashton Genty's the best running back in this class. I'm looking at some of these other guys in the top, considered in the top 5, top 6. Man, maybe I'd take them, honestly. But again, not in the first round. Let's wait till the second round. Maybe even the third if we can. We already got a Jaylen Warren here. And this is all under the assumption we don't bring back Najee Harris. But I'm willing to move off of Najee Harris. I'm willing to go into the draft with Jaylen Warren, and maybe we sign. I wouldn't even mind signing a J.K. Dobbins. If we sign a J.K. Dobbins, then obviously we don't have to draft a running back early either. But we'll see how it all plays out. That's my thoughts on the whole situation. Let me know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Stay chilling. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.